Welcome back, guys. Today we're talking about one of the most effective and most fun ways to get better at the tactics you need to play CQB heavy games like Ready or Not, Ground Branch, etc. I'll also talk about a few CQB techniques you can incorporate into your games. Let's do it. CQB, or close quarters battle, is the most dangerous and one of the most complex things you can do when it comes to tactics. Every decision you make can expose you to a new angle which could be hiding an enemy. If you're like most people, this can lead to decision paralysis, or worse, over-penetrating a room and getting killed.
Right.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Unknown. Wall left. He's down. I'm pushing left. No, push right.
I'm willing to bet that you've probably died many times just because you weren't sure how to properly approach and clear a space. That's where Door Kickers 2 Task Force North comes in. It is not only an incredibly fun and rewarding gaming experience, but it's also a CQB theory simulator that lets you plan and execute realistic CQB missions in a virtual environment. What really makes Door Kickers 2 so useful is that it removes the limitations of the first-person point of view. This lets you examine the geometry of a space in its entirety rather than an incomplete slice of it. By seeing that geometry, you can better understand the specific dangers of the space you're dealing with. This is critical to understanding the why behind the CQB tactics you should be using. And you don't have to be a CQB wizard to benefit from this. If you keep getting killed by open opposed threats like doors, you're going to realize that you need to cover them both. Now let's look at a few CQB techniques and how they can help you out in Ready or Not. First off, let's look at running the rabbit. This is a technique you can use in a corner-fed room or at a turn in a hallway. Running the rabbit has a few benefits. By using your number one man to strafe across the known wall, he will present a moving target to any enemies at the other end of the space, which makes him harder to hit. But it also allows you to get your number two man's muzzle into the fight almost instantly. On the other hand, if you try and use your number one man to button hook and attack the threat, you're giving the enemy a stationary target and preventing your number two man from getting his muzzle into the fight until after he clears past the number one man's body. By getting reps with the overhead view in Door Kickers, your brain will start to internalize these lessons and concepts. That way, when you come back to Ready or Not, your mind will default back to that muscle movement of running the rabbit. Let's look at another one. Eyeing the threshold before entering, which we like to call doing a threshold assessment. People in Ready or Not tend to get tunnel vision, in part because they're limited to their own POV. As soon as that flashbang goes off, they're launching themselves through that threshold as fast as possible without any situational awareness of what's on the other side. When we do that, we forget that the fatal funnel goes both ways, and we're giving up the one time during the entry process that we can use the angles to our advantage. Well, Door Kickers 2 will show you in easy to understand visual terms exactly what that geometry looks like. The more you look at this, the more you'll see that in most situations, you do not want to give up that opportunity to eliminate any threats within those angles prior to entering the room. Door Kickers will even let you practice pieing it off at the speed you can process that information. If you have a particularly dangerous room and you want to minimize the exposure to your operator, you can set it so that he will not continue his pie until there are no threats within his current angles. Very, very handy. By the way, if you like tactical gameplay, tactical lessons, and game reviews, then consider closing with and destroying those like and subscribe buttons by means of fire and maneuver. And if you want to pick up a copy of Door Kickers 2, you can get it from my game store at the link in the description. There is no extra cost to you, but a small portion of the purchase will go towards supporting the channel. That will help us expand operations into virtual reality and hopefully purchase some new hardware that will increase the quality of recordings and streams. All right, let's get back to it. The next technique that we'll look at is plating or blading. Sometimes you're going to have multiple threat areas to deal with at once. This means that you may not be able to advance your point man without exposing him to more angles than he can handle. So we have to adapt to this by using a second or third guy. If you want to pie off a threshold with an open opposed threshold, you'll want that second guy to go back to back or plate to plate in order for them to both protect their backs. You may also have situations where you have to go shoulder to shoulder because you have a second threat that is ahead of you, but at an angle that's too great for the point man to handle himself. Another thing you can do to get better at CQB is find yourself a group to learn from. We've got an incredibly friendly and welcoming and 100% non-toxic Discord community where we play together and help everyone improve their skills. We've got combat vets, we've got SWAT guys, and we really enjoy expanding the community of people who can enjoy tactical gaming more successfully. If that sounds good, come join the team. We'll We'll see you next time.